This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the best all-in-one platform for all of your website building needs. Hey guys, it's Celestia, and it's been a while, but I'm finally back with more Art Trope Top 10s, the series where I roast the art tropes I hate the most and ramble about my favorites, while poorly doodling myself as all of them. So far, I've done the best and worst anime art tropes, Western animation art tropes, character design tropes, and Mary Sue art tropes, all of which you can find in the playlist in the iCard above. And next on the list is the worst hero and villain art tropes. I was gonna do one for each, but when I actually started scripting, I realized a lot of the tropes for heroes had opposite counterparts for villains and vice versa, which should have been obvious to me in hindsight. So I decided I'd just combine them and drag them both at once. Let the mockery of one enhance the mockery of the other. But before I start roasting your favorite heroes and villains and once again earn the blind rage of half the internet with bad doodles and worse jokes, let me take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace has been supporting this channel for so long that me gushing about them has become a staple of my videos at this point, which has led to the long-running joke that we're basically married now, and every time I don't start a video by mentioning them, rumors of our scandalous divorce inevitably follow. But I've told you before, and I will tell you again, I would never divorce Squarespace, because I genuinely believe they're the best website building and hosting platform out there. And I've thought that since long before I started working with them too, since I built my personal Duchess Celestia portfolio site there quite a few years ago. And since then, they've always been my first recommendation for any artist looking to build their own, because their tools and templates made the entire process so easy that it was actually fun. And with such a wide variety of options available, portfolios are just the beginning of what you can create. Any kind of site you need, you can make it on Squarespace. And what's more, it's just as easy to turn it into an online store with all of the tools you could possibly need, letting you manage payments and inventory, and even handle shipping and fulfillment. On top of that, they have SEO tools that'll help you get more eyes on your store and maximize the number of customers shopping with you. And it's not just physical goods that you can sell. They make it just as easy to sell services too. Consultations, event management, editing, even art commissions. Their tools make selling anything easy, with a streamlined workflow, built-in appointment scheduling, email marketing tools, and so much more. And your customers have just as many options as you do too. They offer all of the most popular payment methods like Klarna, ACH Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay, and even allow you the option to send individualized branded invoices to specific clients, so you can start making sales and accepting orders from all around the world with just a few clicks. So whether you're an artist in need of a portfolio, an entrepreneur building an online store, a creator setting up an interactive blog, or a small business owner making a landing page, Squarespace is the place to do it. And you can find out yourself by going to squarespace.com to get your own free trial today. And once you've built the perfect site that you're ready to launch, you can get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain by going to squarespace.com/DuchessCelestia, linked in the description. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and please go check them out. But for now, let's start roasting some heroes and villains. In equal measure, don't worry, I don't play favorites. Well, that's not true, I do. Anyone who knows me knows I'm the world's most unapologetic villain simp. But in the interest of maintaining my very strict professional objectivity, I picked 5 for both anyway. First up is the #1 worst hero art trope, when the character is the chosen one, prophesized to save the world from its imminent demise, because it's their destiny and they're the only one who can. And they look exactly like the person drawn in the ancient tapestries of old, 800-something years ago. And I don't mean a slight resemblance, I mean identical. And either everyone takes that as empirical proof that they are them immediately, as if they just produced their own certificate of authenticity, and then the hero expresses how humble they are by being the only one who doubts it could really be them. Or they look so much like the ancient artwork of the chosen one that they may as well have literally just strolled right out of the tapestry, but not a single person notices the resemblance or finds it even vaguely compelling if it's pointed out. Either way, I refuse to believe that the chosen one hero looks even vaguely similar to a depiction predicting their appearance from centuries in the past, because like, fashion changes a lot. And if it were me, like the real me behind the blue-haired anime girl, centuries ago, if they were predicting the hero to be a woman, there's almost no way they'd depict my appearance as anything other than a long-haired lady in a dress of varying fanciness. So if I walk up to that tapestry with my half-shaved short hair, ripped jeans covered in paint stains, and shirt that says chicken nuggets in Japanese on it, I guarantee you it's not gonna shock a room into stunned silence and hushed whispers of, "She's the one," if I walk up to that tapestry, even if I am the one. And like, the only way I can believe a tapestry could believably do an accurate job of predicting the appearance of someone that far in the future is if it's made by some kind of oracle who's actually able to see them. And if they were, then wouldn't they also see that they're dressed nothing like anyone in that time period? But the tapestries always have them in era-appropriate clothing, which the hero usually then is already wearing something similar to against all odds, just a passably more modern version. This maybe gets a pass for me if the chosen one hero is a reincarnation of the previous chosen one that the tapestry is actually depicting, because then they'd obviously just share features and not clothing choices. But even that's pushing it to me if they're still wearing the exact same colors, or maybe favorite colors are passed down through the soul, I don't know. Regardless, it's a funny trope, but #1, I'm not sold on the believability, and #2, it's a missed opportunity for the chosen one to look nothing like they're prophesized to, and have to deal with everyone around them constantly treating them like they they Photoshop their profile picture on a dating app and their real appearance is a massive disappointment. But let's give heroes a break for a second and talk about the number 2 worst villain art trope, Jeff Bezos. I'm kidding, but I'm also not kidding. Why are so many villains bald? Why is being bald a prerequisite for getting your atrocity committing pass? I mean, not all villains are bald, but almost all bald characters are villains. Is there something about the shininess of their heads that we find fundamentally threatening? Do we have an instinctive fear that they could blind us if we look too close as they reflect the sun? Or is the implication here that going bald is actually their traumatic villain backstory that drove them to evil, and the loss of innocent lives is the only adequate revenge for the loss of their innocent hair? I don't know, but it's become such a common trope at this point that it's just funny to me. But not like funny, like unbearably cheesily funny, like when Walter White said, "I am the danger." Also, my sincere condolences to all non-evil bald people. You did not deserve this slander that villains and Jeff Bezos are spreading with their stereotypes. Please don't turn to crime. Alright, number 3 and 4 are actually two sides of the same coin for heroes and villains. When heroes are disproportionately color-coded to be blue, and villains are almost always color-coded to be red. First of all, as someone whose favorite color has been red for as long as I can remember, I can't adequately articulate how sick I am of it always being edgy and evil. It's just a pretty color. A red version of something doesn't always need to be the evil version of it. It could just be red. But without fail, the moment a character is hue shifted to red in a piece of media, it's because they've just pawned the last of their morals for cash and taken their true destined place as a villain. If they were already wearing red or had red eyes or red hair or red something, then they were probably secretly a villain all along. Even a morally ambiguous character is instantly viewed as more menacing if a significant enough number of their physical characteristics are red. The same isn't always true about heroes and the color blue, at least not to that extent, but it's pretty close. Even if it's not that their clothes, costume, hair, eyes, or whatever else are blue, more often than not, they're still gonna end up being blue-coded in the way they're drawn, so we're reminded as often as humanly possible that they are, in fact, the good guy. Elle and Light from Death Note are the most obvious examples of this that come to mind. Neither of them actually have anything blue or red about them, except Light's tie that he isn't even always wearing. But in every single dramatic scene, Elle is immediately high contrast bright blue and Light is bright red, because if they weren't, we'd have no way of knowing that the bad guy was the one killing hundreds of thousands of people with a magic book, and the good guy was the one trying to stop him. I'll admit, it actually is visually effective to associate a character with a color like that, and those scenes did work to heighten the contrast between them and make us as viewers perceive them as opposites since their colors were. But why does it always have to be those colors? Blue and green are drastically more hero-coded than other colors, and red and purple are the opposite, and it's just mix it up. Color code a character all you want. It looks cool and it's great visual storytelling, and I actually love the way Death Note did it. But use a different color one singular time. Let villains be blue. Let heroes be red. I know there are some exceptions in which that is the case, but they're exceptions, not the rule. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man only got to be part red because the blue was so heroic that it balanced it out. And I do get it. We as a society make associations between colors and meanings. Pink is for girls and blue is for boys because someone at some point in history said so, and we all just took that and ran with it. Yellow is happy, blue is sad, gold and purple are royal, green and brown are natural and chill, and so on. And green and red are generally good and bad or right and wrong, like green check marks and red X's. The fact that the meaning of colors differs based on the country you're in speaks to how subjective and culturally dependent that is, though. So like, if other cultures can perceive red as something other than evil and blue as something other than heroic, why can't we? Break free from the chains of conventional color coding. Let my favorite color be red without that making me evil, Celestia. I am, but that has absolutely nothing to do with my preferred aesthetic, and I still would be if my favorite color was like cerulean. Anyway, next is the 5th worst hero art trope, and it's what TV Tropes calls beauty equals goodness. It's kind of like the bald villain one, the whole not every villain is bald, but every bald character is a villain thing. Not every hot character has to be a hero, but every hero has to be a hot character. It's the comedically stupid double standard that lets villains be either pretty or ugly, with their appearance having no bearing on their moral alignment, but doesn't allow anyone that isn't conventionally gorgeous to be a hero as if it's a job requirement. You can be evil no matter what you look like, but you can only fight crime if you'd pass an interview as a supermodel. It definitely speaks to society's beauty standards, and honestly, I could probably do an entire video on what it says about pretty person privilege. But like, come on, don't we deal with that enough in society? Can't we at least free ourselves from that in fiction? Can't we like let characters have honorable moral compasses regardless of their physical appearances? I know it's hard to suspend disbelief and accept that a person's worldview doesn't directly correspond with how hot people think they are, but it's an abstract concept worth considering that most writers and artists apparently refuse to. Moment of silence for all the characters with visible imperfections that are legally prohibited from being good people. But let's roast some more villains with number 6, the next worst villain art trope. When villains get a complete makeover when they decide to switch to the side of good, as if their choice of clothing was what dictated their morality, and the fact that they now pay taxes and use their blinker means they can no longer wear the color black. Listen, I get the makeover trope. I've even included it as one of my favorites in early your videos, because I love characters getting new outfits for new occasions. I'm not against that. I'm not even against villains getting new outfits when they decide to renounce their evil ways and leave Team Rocket or whatever. It makes sense that they would, especially if their original outfit was a uniform for their previous evil affiliation, or at least had colors reflecting it. But why does it have to be so stereotypical? Does it always have to be the same tropes over and over again, with black clothes turning into white clothes, and chains or ripped edges turning into gold trim, or dark colors turning into lighter ones like their choice in apparel has itself seen the light? Does changing your moral affiliation have to have a visual consequence akin to going from a demon to an angel? I can say with confidence that I'm a much better person now than I was in high school when I thought punching people and stealing stuff was edgy and cool. But I can say with equal confidence that I wear black clothing 99% of the time, just like I did back then. Because to the overwhelming surprise of scientists everywhere, it appears as if color preference is not, in fact, associated with a person's proclivity to commit crime. Give villains makeovers when they stop being villains, sure. But my god, stop giving them the most stereotypical makeovers ever that just change their dark, edgy outfits into light, not edgy versions of the exact same thing. Sometimes personal growth is wearing clothes that actually fit you rather than oversized pajamas that conceal your entire physical form. Or the opposite, not like wearing pink instead of red. Don't be so basic. But for number 7 and 8, we're back to the tropes that are two sides of the same coin. Mostly because this one is literally just the same piece of clothing presented as if it isn't. The 7th and 8th worst hero and villain art tropes are the hero cape and the villain cloak. Because just really, there is one singular difference between a cape and a cloak, and it's the presence of a hood. And okay, sure, cloaks having hoods comes with the implication that the wearer is hiding their identity, and I get why that would be associated with evil. But number 1, heroes usually wear masks that do the same thing anyway because the legal system prosecutes based on maintaining order, not justice, and it doesn't care that heroes are usually in the right if they happen to break a law. God forbid you interrupt traffic when you don't have the right of way to save someone from being hit by a car. So we accept that that's dumb, and a hero has the right to obscure their identity by wearing a mask in order to do that anyway without unreasonable punishment. But if their cape happens to have a hood and they wear that instead, they're obviously saving the person from the car for nefarious purposes that threaten national security. It's not even limited to fiction. In real life, if I'm wearing a hoodie, I feel like people will consider me a sketchy-ass threat if I actually use the hood, even if it's raining or snowing or windy or I'm just trying to accommodate my anemia and not freeze to death. What is it about a cape that's heroic and a cloak that's villainous if both the hero and the villain are obscuring their identities regardless? Like, ultimately, the cape serves no purpose at all whatsoever other than virtue signaling that they're Superman-coded and maybe contributing to some streamlined Bernoulli acceleration. And adding a hood that hides their face when they're already hiding it with a mask is immediately menacing and evil because shadows or something? Really? They are literally the same piece of fabric, but one is inherently malicious because it serves the same purpose as another piece of fabric that a hero wears anyway, because like Emperor Palpatine or something? Sure, makes sense. But I could ramble about that one for an unreasonable amount of time, so let's finish this off with the last two. The 9th and 10th worst hero and villain art tropes. Another set of opposites. The fact that heroes are always dog people and villains are always cat people. We all know the Inspector Gadget Dr. Claw cat, or like a media reference people who aren't ancient get. Giovanni from Pokemon with Persian, is that still too old because he hasn't been in the games for a decade? Or that one Bond villain? Do kids these days even know Bond villains? Okay, I'm just gonna add put myself into a grave because I'm pretty sure I'm 80 to my to-do list and move on. Point is, there's a lot of media in which villains have cats and like cats, and psychopaths everywhere are instinctively drawn to them because they're evil or something, while dogs are instead a symbol of loyalty and morality and are pillars of good that can never be questioned. The Will Grahams love dogs and the Hannibal Lecters love cats, and that's just an unquestionable design trope that we've all accepted for a good few decades. And like, why? I'm not either. I love cats and I love dogs. I also love birds and fish and hermit crabs and snakes. It's almost like the creatures you bond with and are drawn to have nothing to do with your moral alignment. I had a fluffy white cat that sat on my lap while I spun around in a desk chair dramatically. And you know what I was doing on my computer before I did? Watching old PewDiePie Let's Plays and drawing Vocaloid fan art. Not exactly villain behavior, especially because I was 14. And the opposite is true too. I grew up surrounded by dogs, and we've already established that young dog-obsessed me also loved punching people and stealing stuff. I am so sick of heroes being dog people and villains being cat people like there's literally any correlation. Stop demonizing cats and glorifying dogs. Let people, like, enjoy the company of animals based on their personalities and preferences, not their chaotic good to evil alignment. But that brings us to the end of the worst hero and villain art tropes. If you enjoyed it and want to see more, please leave a comment and let me know so I can get started on prioritizing these horrendous doodles and nonsensical scripts as soon as possible. Please also let me know whether or not you agree with my list and why, because watching you argue about fictional characters in the comments is a deeply, deeply rewarding experience for me. For now though, thank you for watching, and special thank you as always to channel members Joseph Solomon, TC Pratt, Haruki Saluzzo, Peachy, King Good James, Art of Amethyst Fable, Extinction Animation, Andy the Hedgehog, Kaida Mimer, Jazz, Abyss Reborn, Baranotte, Just Sayori, and Stardust, as well as patrons Batman, Kyle Lowe, Blue Swanson, Jamisha Walker, Alangshi, Kim Yen, Crazy Asar, Gentong, Grey Snake Xavier, Blah Mage, TC Pratt, Finn, Celine Merriman, Eldritchia, The Stray Dog, Ulura, Greg Noble, Decagon, Jenny Chan, Catbus, Mac, Lucy Yamajiki, Selena Bibi, Pride, Totally Shogun, Insomniac Sleep Schedule, Wing Tang Wong, Marie Greer, Potato, Jazz, Voidwalker, Latte Tabby, Christian Cook, and Adam Sorovic, and I'll see you in the next one.